Hello there, very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan.
And I'm Shalini Ratnavira. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
BNP secures two-thirds majority in Bangladesh election. Purse seine fishermen end satyagraha after talks with president. Government cannot be shaken for 5 years, says Minister Lal Kanta.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුව හොල්ලන්න බෑ මේ අවුරුදු 5 ඇතුලේ කිසිම ජනතෙකුට ඒ තරම් බලයක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙනවා.
Presidential Commission will be appointed to probe people's struggle or Aragalaya, says Namal Rajapaksa.
අපි පැහැදිලිවම අරගලය සම්බන්ධයෙන් සහ ඒ සඳහා විදේශ රටවලින් ආපු මුදල් සම්බන්ධයෙන් ජනාධිපති කොමිසමක් පත් කළා ඒ කාරණේ පිළිබඳව හොයනවා.
Couple killed in Akuregoda shooting.
Now the story is in detail. Attorney at law Buddhika Mallavarachi and his wife were shot dead in Akuregoda, Telangana this evening.
The shooting took place today at approximately 4:50 p.m. in the parking lot of a supermarket in Akuregoda. Police said that a group travelling in a car had carried out the shooting using a T-56 firearm and then fled the scene. The deceased attorney, Buddhika Mallavarachi, and his wife were residents of Pore, Aturgiriya. According to the police, the deceased attorney was 45 years old, while his wife was 42 years old. Police investigations have revealed that the slain attorney had served as the legal counsel for the organized criminal known as Karandeniya Sudha. Meanwhile, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka has strongly condemned the shooting of a lawyer and his wife by unidentified assailants. Issuing a statement, the BASL states that attacks of this nature are a grave threat to the rule of law. The BASL strongly urges the police to conduct a thorough investigation into the shooting, apprehend the perpetrators and bring them before the law, further urging law enforcement authorities to prevent such incidents from occurring in the future.
Following the Gen Z youth uprising in Bangladesh, the country has held its first general election in which the Bangladesh Nationalist Party led by Tariq Rahman has secured a clear two-thirds majority. Tariq Rahman is the son of former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia and former President Ziaur Rahman. After the youth uprising, an interim government led by Muhammad Yunus came into power and the election was held 18 months later.
The 13th parliamentary election of Bangladesh was held yesterday with 127 million eligible voters. More than 2,000 candidates contested from 50 political parties along with independent candidates. This election becomes historically significant as it is the first in decades to be held without the presence of Bangladesh's two dominant political figures, Sheikh Hasina and Khaleda Zia. The Awami League, led by Sheikh Hasina, was barred from contesting this time. Muhammad Yunus, the head of the interim government, also did not contest, stating that his objective was only to bring stability to the country. Thus, the main contenders were the BNP and the Jamaat-e-Islami Party. According to early results, the BNP was leading. By this afternoon, it was reported that the party had already secured a two-thirds majority, winning 212 out of 299 seats, while the rival Jamaat-e-Islami had only secured around 70 seats. BBC reports that other parties have won 10 seats. This election drew significant attention as it followed the student protests of July 2024. A decision to allocate 30% of government jobs to relatives of the 1971 Liberation War veterans led to widespread protests, during which 1,400 protesters were directly charged against Hasina. Although Hasina denied responsibility, she fled to India in August 2024. After her departure, Bangladesh was governed by the interim administration led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. On the 17th of December last year, former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was sentenced to death for crimes against humanity, including ordering crackdowns that caused the deaths of over 1,400 people during the youth uprising. BNP leader Tariq Rahman had previously been arrested on corruption charges in 2007 before leaving for the UK in 2008. He returned to Bangladesh last year after 18 years, following the serious illness of his mother, former Prime Minister Begum Khalida Zia. In his election manifesto, he pledged to end entrenched corruption and lead Bangladesh onto a new path of clean politics. The leader of Jamaat-e-Islami, 68-year-old Amir Shafiqur Rahman, also returned to active politics after Sheikh Hasina's exit. Jamaat contested as part of an 11-party alliance. Bangladesh elects 300 MPs through the national vote, while 50 additional seats are reserved for women after the election. One constituency did not hold voting due to the death of a candidate. Alongside choosing a new government, voters also decided on the implementation of the July Declaration, a broad reform package put to a constitutional referendum. If approved, future constitutional reforms would require approval from a majority in the upper legislative body. Analysts say the election was peaceful and fair. Once all results are confirmed, an official gazette will be issued before the new government is sworn in. Founded in 1978, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party is returning to power after more than 20 years, marking a major political shift. Tariq Rahman is expected to be sworn in as the 11th Prime Minister of Bangladesh within the next few days. BNP officials say they expect to form a government within 3 days once MPs take their oaths. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stated that the results show the trust the Bangladeshi people have placed in Tariq Rahman's leadership. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif congratulated the people of Bangladesh on conducting a successful election. US and Chinese ambassadors in Bangladesh have also reportedly extended their best wishes to Rahman.
Minister K.D. Lalkantha emphasizes that the current parliament, elected with 159 seats through the people's mandate, cannot be shaken in any way until its 5-year term ends. He made this clarification today in Trincomalee.
A stable political environment has now been created in the country. It is stable. In the past, you know how governments were toppled, with MPs crossing from one side to another. There were parliamentary elections in 2000 and again in 2001. Members of the Muslim Congress crossed over and others jumped back and forth. You know that those in parliament were not true representatives of the people, just frogs jumping from one place to another, toppling governments, breaking them and overturning them. That is why the country had no political stability, and when there is no stability, the country cannot progress. Governments kept changing one after the other. Ministers were being bought for money. Everyone knows this, but you have changed that. You gave 159 seats to a single party, the National People's Power. This parliament cannot be shaken during these 5 years. No one in the world has been given such power the way you have given it. That means you have created true political stability, which is necessary for development. Now the president is in office and there is a parliament with 159 seats. Therefore, several essential tasks still have to be completed. Now, defeated regressive forces still exist. There are regressive, backward, corrupt, fraudulent and destructive elements in this country. They have no place in parliament nor outside. But behind them, there are groups that support them. Nationalist groups. Now, in Vaunia and Mullaitivu, we are ready to begin the Kiuloya project. A certain group is gathering there, stirring up Tamil nationalism. Demonstrations in Vaunia, forces that were defeated, forces rejected by the people, are now raising nationalism to disrupt the project's implementation. They are nationalist about water, nationalist about land, nationalist about politics. This is in the north. In the south too, various groups behind defeated regressive forces are staging protests, spreading false propaganda and trying to create political instability. But it will not work. The people will not fall for it now. They are trying. If necessary, we can name these groups, though I will not do so. You know who they are. These are the forces that destroyed the country through theft, corruption and fraud. They are the ones who bankrupted the economy. After the people threw them out, even the groups behind them can no longer rely on them. They want to disrupt things again and regain power. Do not allow it. Do not allow nationalism to rise again in this country. Do not give them space in your villages, your lands and your regions. When they raise their heads, push them back. Otherwise, you know how this land collapsed and was destroyed. 30 years of war, a racist war. It was created by those who ruled this country and also by some who did not rule. Both groups divided the people for their own survival, created a war, made people kill each other and destroyed the nation. They wanted power only for wealth, not for anything else.
The restoration of the Mavilaru Dam, which was destroyed by Cyclone Ditwa, commenced today under the leadership of Minister K.D. Lalkantha. A total of 5 billion rupees has been allocated for this work.
The SLPP, which secured only 3 seats in Parliament at the last general election, says it will appoint a presidential commission to investigate the people's struggle or the Aragale once it comes to power. This was the explanation given by the party's national organizer.
We
will appoint a presidential commission to look into the Aragale and the money that came from foreign countries. Even the current president of the United States has mentioned that funds were invested through the US aid agency to change governments in several countries, including Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. This clearly shows that money came from foreign nations. A portion of those involved in the Aragale bought vehicles. Another portion became ministers. Another bought houses. Some went abroad and settled, and around 12 people ended up on the gallows. What happened in the end is that those who operated the movement became the government, while others paid the price.
The Samagi Jana Balawege has now presented a stance similar to that of the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna regarding matters linked to the people's struggle. Speaking at a media briefing, Varuna Rajapaksa, the Gampaha organizer of the SJB, said that all incidents connected to the Aragale must be fully investigated.
There were discussions about creating power outside Parliament. The proposal itself included forming an alternative model of power instead of the parliamentary democratic system. Then people were asked to surround Parliament to come and break down the last bunker. Therefore, the entire process must also be investigated because there is evidence available. Afterwards, houses belonging to the people were set on fire. That too is wrong. We do not know whether those who burned the houses were groups connected to the Aragale, villagers who came voluntarily, or whether it was an organized act. This is why I say a complete review of the entire chain of events is necessary. There is no point in discussing isolated incidents. These are interconnected developments.
What has happened to the country's opposition? Businessman Dudley Sirasa, speaking at a program held in Colombo, questioned the conduct of the opposition.
When the government speaks about reforming the education system, the opposition opposes it whether it's good or bad. Their politics has become a destructive force inside children's education. That is the truth. If we are to rebuild this country, the education system must change. The level of political misconduct taking place in this country is just beyond measure. As a businessman, I'm still paying for certain decisions I had to take in 2022. This situation was created by those who governed the country by their weaknesses. If we ran a business and it failed, that is a practical issue. But this is different. Those who planned and deliberately failed to carry out their responsibilities have caused suffering to our children and to our nation. As a country and a nation, I have a deep resentment towards those who governed this country and caused this destruction. That is the truth. For any system, business, education or society, you need political stability and a stable government. But they measure stability carelessly And because of their actions, we ended up unable to afford even basic necessities. My elder brother told me not to speak strongly about this, but I said this is the mildest way I can put it. They worked together and ruined us. I saw a news report yesterday or the day before saying Sri Lanka has moved ahead of 14 countries in reducing corruption. Practically, I agree this is happening. We do not need political divisions to live. But those who hold power and those in the opposition trying to grab power are not thinking about our future. The biggest problem right now is that those in government are trying to hold on to power, while those in the opposition are trying harder to take it. And in this struggle, the opposition is acting without any thought for the future of the people. They keep saying the government will fall in December or it will fall in April. Let it fall when it falls. We will see it when it happens. But trying to topple it prematurely is damaging the minds of the people. When that day comes, we will see the outcome. If someone falls, it will be them, not us. And we must face our challenges with that understanding.
Former Minister Johnston Fernando, his 2 sons and 3 other suspects have been further remanded until the 20th of February. The order was issued when they were produced before Wattala magistrate Kanchana Niranjala de Silva.
According to investigations conducted based on a complaint received by the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division in 2015, charges have been filed against the suspects. The bail application submitted by the suspects is scheduled to be considered on the 20th of this month. Investigations have revealed that the suspects had obtained an excise license under the name of a company operated from an address belonging to former MP Vijay Kala Maheshwaran, claiming it was for the manufacture of perfume and cleaning agents. Using that license, they had reportedly purchased 100,000 litres of ethanol and diverted it for other purposes. Additionally, charges have been filed under the misuse of state property, alleging that 40,000 litres of ethanol were transported to another location on 3 occasions using a Lanka Sathusa lorry. The Colombo High Court today fixed the 27th of April for the trial in the case filed against former Health Minister Keheli Rambukalla, his wife, his 3 daughters and his son-in-law over allegations of unlawfully acquiring assets. The case was called before Colombo High Court Judge Mohammed Mihal. Under the provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption had filed 43 charges on the 26th of June last year against Keheli Rambukalla, his wife, their 3 daughters, as well as his son-in-law. The indictment alleges that between the 13th of August 2020 and the 24th of June 2024, while functioning at the Ministry of Mass Media and the Ministry of Health, the accused had committed offences under the Penal Code by unlawfully accumulating assets.
Newsfirst with the people.
2 wild elephants that entered Walachene town in Batikulu this morning have killed a woman and injured 3 others.
The elephants had reportedly travelled from the Nasivantiu area through Piranturai Lagoon before reaching Walachene at around 6 a.m. today. Upon entering the town, the elephants forced their way into the Walachene Tamil school, causing extensive damage to property. According to reports, school activities were suspended as a result. The elephants then moved through various parts of Walachene, behaving aggressively and damaging 10 motorcycles, a 3-wheeler and several other properties. They later wandered into multiple residential areas, causing additional damage to houses. During this period, one of the elephants attacked a woman, killing her at the scene. The victim, aged 68, was from Gampaha Kadawatha and had been returning from a relative's house at the time of the attack. 3 others injured in the elephant attacks were admitted to the Walachene Base Hospital and later transferred to the Batiklo Teaching Hospital for further treatment. Officers of the Department of Wildlife Conservation later intervened and took steps to drive the elephants away from the residential areas.
The Madal fishermen or purse seine fishermen who had been engaged in a satyagraha in front of the presidential secretariat said they have decided to end the protest following discussions held with the president. They conveyed this to the media today after meeting the president.
A group of Madal fishermen or purse seine fishermen began the satyagraha near the presidential secretariat on the 5th of this month, demanding permission to use tractors and winch machines in the purse seine fishing industry. The discussion between the president and the fishermen took place this afternoon at the presidential secretariat. During the meeting, the president said that while seeking solutions to the issues surrounding the industry, the government has no intention of causing economic hardship to anyone, and that its responsibility is to strengthen the economic conditions of all citizens. The president further pointed out that in addressing this matter, complaints from the general fishing community, concerns raised by environmental organizations, findings from scientific research institutions, and reports from agencies under the Fisheries Ministry and other relevant bodies must all be taken into account. Accordingly, he stressed the importance of ensuring that any decision avoids economic damage, protects the environment, complies with international conventions, safeguards the fishing industry and marine resources for future generations, and prevents the use of banned fishing methods.
We did not come here to inconvenience the president or the government. We came trusting his pledge. He assured us that this issue can be resolved and asked us to trust him. Because of that assurance, we peacefully left the protest site today. We will meet him again on Monday for further discussions, and we have confidence that he will give us a fair solution. The president requested that we no longer remain here. It was a request, not pressure. He said he knows the difficulties caused by our presence here and that seeing our struggle causes him pain. Therefore, respecting his request, all of us are prepared to leave. As secretary of the association, I declare that we are stepping away from the site today.
Afterward, the group of fishermen vacated the location.
A protest was held opposite the Ministry of Justice in Colombo today, demanding the repeal of the PTA or Prevention of Terrorism Act, as well as the proposed Protection of the State from Terrorism Act or PSTA.
The protest was organized by a number of civil society organizations. During the event, they strongly urged for the repeal of the PTA and the proposed PSTA.
As you already know, since the Prevention of Terrorism Act was introduced, it is the minority communities who have been fully affected by it. In that context, as representatives of the Hill Country people who remain oppressed and live through various hardships in this country, we firmly demand today that the government immediately withdraw this law.
A foundation-laying ceremony for the new school building of Sri Lokananda Mahavidyalaya in Kulakale, Kottukachia, located in Puttlam, was held this morning, marking a major step forward for the rural community. This development comes as another key project initiated by Gammatha, following concerns raised over long-standing shortages faced by the school.
This is Kulakale Kottukachia, located in Puttalam. Sri Lokananda Mahavidyalaya, located within the Mahakumbu Kadavala Divisional Secretariat Division of the Puttalam district, currently educates around 500 students from grades 1 to 13. For years, the school has struggled with significant infrastructure limitations. Several classrooms are insufficient in number, and some have even been patched together using coconut-thatched coverings due to the lack of proper facilities. After the school principal brought these issues to the attention of Gammadda, an immediate response followed. Today, the groundwork was officially laid to construct a fully equipped new school building for the children of Kulakale. Private sector support also strengthened the initiative, with Next Manufacturing Private Limited joining the effort. The event saw the participation of government officials, Next Manufacturing's Director of Manufacturing David Ray, General Manager of Human Resources Bharat Amarasinghe, Newsfirst Director Rinaz Mohammed, and Gammadda General Secretary Prasanna Atukorala, all of whom took part in placing the cornerstone and commencing the work.
For us to come to the region and continue to give something back to the local communities, for us it's a real honour and a real privilege to help to change the fabrication and the lives of the local communities, one project at a time. And that's what we've seen with Gammadda as we embark on our 7th project, where we've done everything from renovating the one of the units at the Peridurnia Teaching Hospital to the Anamadua Teaching Hospital for the renal and the kidney unit, to doing various water projects in the area. This one again is an amazing opportunity for us to bring another project to the local community. So to be given the opportunity to be involved in the building of a new classroom, to replace a current classroom that I understand has been here since 1973, which is almost as old as I am. And I really will look forward to coming back to open the project and turn over what will be a very new and exciting phase for the staff and for the pupils of the school. And what great place to invest in the education of the children in the local area. There's no money better spent than giving people a really good education, and that is what this project will do.
The Gammadda initiative has traversed paths others have not trodden on. We spoke to the people and listened to their issues. We then compiled a report on it and placed it before donors, the authorities, the government, and every other person responsible for this country. Then some contributed because they felt ashamed. Some contributed voluntarily or because they felt sorry for the plight of their fellow brethren. People like David Ray have gotten involved as they felt empathetic towards other people. They are not doing it for any personal gain. Rather, they are doing it for the gain of our nation.
The project will be completed swiftly and handed over to the children of Kulakale as soon as possible.
Let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee is performing in the global market.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has released today's official exchange rates, positioning the US dollar at a selling rate of 313 rupees and 5 cents. Meanwhile, the buying rate for the US dollar currently stands at 305 rupees and 52 cents.
Former Minister and former General Secretary of the Lanka Sama Samaja Party, Vidyajyoti Professor Tissa Vitarana, has passed away. He was 91 years old at the time of his passing.
Tissa Vitarana obtained his medical degree from the University of Ceylon in 1959 and earned a PhD in virology from the University of London in 1971. A renowned expert in bacteriology and virology, he joined the Medical Research Institute or MRI in Colombo in 1972 and served as its director from 1983 to 1994. Tissa Vitarana entered Parliament as a National List MP for the United People's Freedom Alliance following the 2004 elections. During his 15 years in Parliament, Professor Vitarana held several ministerial positions, including Minister of Science and Technology.
Regional Director of ICAO Taoma arrived in Sri Lanka last night and held talks with stakeholders earlier today.
A meeting between the regional director of the International Civil Aviation Authority, TAOMA, and key stakeholders of the Sri Lankan civil aviation sector was held at the Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka today. The event was attended by the chairman of the Civil Aviation Authority Sri Lanka, Sunil Jayaratne, the Director General of Civil Aviation and Chief Executive Officer Captain Daminda Rambukwala, along with other senior officials and staff of the authority. Speaking at the event, the Regional Director for Asia Pacific of the International Civil Aviation Organization, TAOMA, shared his views on aviation being the driver of global economy.
Aviation is the driver of the global economy and generate economic benefits to the country. Regions and the whole would be the direct, indirect, and induced effect. It promotes the travel, tourism, and cargo transport. Asia Pacific region has 39, as I mentioned, contract member states and two administrations with approximately 60% of the world population. And the region has countries of a largest population as well as a small island states with a fewer of 1,000 population. So many countries in the APAC depends heavily on the tourism and aviation contributes as much as 40% of the national GDP. And in Sri Lanka, probably, as we know, the aviation and tourism sector has also contributed very well to the GDP, about approximately 15%, if I'm not wrong. But so it's also very important for aviation. As the DG mentioned that if you don't have aviation, how do you bring your tourists to come here? You don't have the bullet train to come connecting the continent. So we have approximately 35% of the global air traffic. That is again the largest share globally. The region is the fastest growing region in the world, and air traffic will further grow by 3 times in next 2 decades. So very soon we will become half of the air volume of the traffic of the world. Now we are almost 34 to 35%.
The Ceylon Literary and Arts Festival kicked off today in Colombo, celebrating literature and art.
Today I'm here at the Ceylon Literary and Art Festival, which is currently underway in Colombo. Now this festival, which started today, will span for 3 days and will end on the 15th of February. Now this festival has brought together many authors, both locally as well as internationally, under one roof to talk about their creations and have panel discussions where you can meet them and talk about their creations as well. Now in this day and age where we are moving towards a digital era, these kind of festivals and these kind of events are so important for everyone regardless of their age, and these are so important for Sri Lanka as well. So this is Ceylon Literary Art Festival 2026.
The Ceylon Literary and Arts Festival kicked off today in Colombo. The opening ceremony marked the start of a vibrant program featuring panel discussions with both local and international authors who shared insights and experiences about their books. Attendees explored art exhibits, took part in interactive Q&A sessions, and had the chance to meet the authors. Newsfirst and Yes11 are the electronic media sponsors for the event.
Shifting our attention to international news. Former Norwegian Prime Minister Thorbjørn Jagland has been charged with gross corruption over his ties with the US sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
The United States and Taiwan have finalized a trade deal to reduce tariffs on Taiwanese exports and facilitate billions of dollars of spending on US goods. The agreement announced on Thursday lowers the general tariff on Taiwanese goods from 20% to 15%, the same level as Asian trade partners South Korea and Japan, in exchange for Taipei agreeing to buy about $85 billion of US energy, aircraft and equipment. Under the deal, Taiwan will eliminate or reduce 99% of tariff barriers and provide preferential market access to numerous U.S. goods, including auto parts, chemicals, machinery, health products, dairy products, and pork, according to the Office of the U.S. Trade Envoy. The U.S. will, in return, exempt a large range of Taiwanese goods from tariffs, including chalk, castor oil, pineapples, and ginseng. Taiwanese President William Lai Ching-te said Taipei had secured tariff exemptions for some 2,000 Taiwanese products, hailing the agreement as a pivotal moment for the self-governing island's economy. Lai said the deal, when various carve-outs are included, would take the average tariff rate on Taiwanese goods to 12.3%.
Pakistan A and United Arab Emirates women's teams claimed victory today in the matches played at the 2026 Emerging Teams Asia Cup Women's Cricket Tournament. The official local broadcast rights for the tournament are held by the Maharaja Media Network, and matches can be watched live on TV1 and via www.sirasatv.lk.
The 2026 Emerging Teams Asia Cup Women's Cricket Tournament is being held in Thailand, featuring 8 teams divided into 2 groups, A and B. Sri Lanka competes in Group B. Opening the tournament, the first match was played between Pakistan A and Nepal in Bangkok. Batting first, Pakistan A scored 137 runs for 6 wickets in 20 overs. Chasing a target of 138, Nepal managed only 107 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. In the second match of the day, India A faced the United Arab Emirates. Batting first, India posted 130 runs for the loss of 9 wickets. Anushka Sharma scored 47 and Tanuja Kanwar remained unbeaten on 34. Samaira Darnidarka excelled with the ball, taking 3 wickets for 40 runs. Chasing the target, the United Arab Emirates secured the win, losing only 3 wickets. Captain Esha Oza remained unbeaten on 72, while Samaira Darnidarka added 34 runs.
Zimbabwe defeated Australia by 23 runs today in their 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup match. This marks the second time in T20 international history that Australia has been beaten by Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe took on Australia at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. Batting first, Zimbabwe built a strong opening with a 61-run partnership between Brian Bennett and Thadivanshe Marumune. Marumune scored 35 runs while Ryan Burl contributed 35. The top performer of the innings was opener Brian Bennett, who remained unbeaten on 64 runs off 56 balls, striking 7 fours. Zimbabwe finished their innings at 169 for the loss of 2 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. In reply, Australia struggled early, losing their first 4 wickets for just 29 runs. Josh Inglis scored 8 and Captain Travis Head was dismissed for 17. 3 Australian batters were dismissed for a duck, falling to Zimbabwe's disciplined bowling attack. Zimbabwe's standout bowler Blessing Muzarabani delivered a brilliant spell, taking 4 wickets for 17 runs and reaching the milestone of 100 T20I wickets. Chasing a target of 170, Australia were bowled out for 146, handing Zimbabwe a memorable 23-run victory.
Meanwhile, in another encounter, the United Arab Emirates beat Canada by 5 wickets in Delhi. Canada posted 150 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in the first innings, and the UAE were able to clinch victory with just 2 balls to spare.
In some local rugby news, Police Sports Club secured a decisive victory over Air Force Sports Club in their plate championship clash in the Inter-Club League Rugby Tournament today.
The action unfolded at the Ratmalana Air Force grounds, where Police SC established an early dominance heading into the break with a 19-12 lead. The second half proved to be a one-sided affair as Police added a further 17 points to their tally, while the Air Force defence struggled to respond, failing to put any points on the board in the latter period. The final whistle saw Police SC cruise to a 36-12 victory powered by 6 tries and 3 conversions. In contrast, Air Force managed just 2 tries and a single conversion. For his standout performance, Police SC's Johan Pires was named Player of the Match.
Coming back to some international news, former Norwegian Prime Minister Torbjørn Jagland has been charged with gross corruption over his ties with the US sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The charge was brought after the Council of Europe lifted Jagland's immunity, which he enjoyed because of his past diplomatic role. The charge was brought after the Council of Europe lifted Jagland's immunity, which he enjoyed because of his past diplomatic role. His lawyer says he denies criminal liability and is willing to cooperate. Emails released by the US government are thought to show that Jagland planned solo and family visits to Epstein's homes in Paris, New York, and Palm Beach after the billionaire was convicted of a child sex offense. 3 of Jagland's properties were searched by Norwegian crime unit Økokrim, and he is now expected to be questioned. As well as serving as Prime Minister from 1996 to 1997, Jagland is also a former head of the Norwegian Nobel Committee and spent a decade as Secretary General of the Council of Europe. Jagland had diplomatic immunity from heading the Council, Europe's watchdog for democracy and human rights, for alleged acts carried out during his 2009 to 2019 tenure. Økokrim requested the Council revoke his immunity after it launched an investigation earlier this month into allegations of gross corruption made against him between 2011 and 2018. The so-called Epstein files appear to show instances where the late financier covered the travel expenses to his properties for Jagland and his family. The former leader had planned a family trip to Epstein's private Caribbean island in 2014, but it was ultimately cancelled after Epstein fell ill. Jagland also faces allegations that he solicited Epstein's help in obtaining a bank loan in another exchange, although it is not clear whether this materialized, according to Norwegian broadcaster NRK. Police have not confirmed whether this allegation is part of the gross corruption charge.
The ultimate throwback to the days of 90s, the biggest 90s party in Sri Lanka, is happening right now at Stein Studios, Ratmalana, powered by Yes 101. Let's now cross over to Mitra Abhikun, who was there earlier this evening to catch all the excitement happening at Stein Studios.
Yes, now I'm here at the 90s party, the one and only 90s party by Yes 101. Now, tonight's party is absolutely incredible, and as you can see, the energy here is absolutely electrifying. Now, one thing that's special about tonight's party is that there are actually 2 parties happening under the same roof. The 90s house party as well as the 90s dance party, making this one of the biggest and one of the best parties Colombo has ever seen. Now, tonight is not just about just any other party. It's going to be an experience, it's going to be nostalgic, and it's going to be a night that everyone will never forget.
The 90s party is actually one of the hottest events in Colombo, and it's been celebrated every year uninterrupted, and a lot of people really look forward to the 90s party because of its glamour, and it's been one of the most iconic events in Colombo. So the turnout is really great. We've seen so much people, the response was huge, and we are expecting a good turnout today. And it's not just one party that we are organizing, it's 2 parties this time. So the experience will be really, really extravagant.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1.
Thank you for watching.
Good
night.
night.